What's up, preppers? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to talk about cabin fever, or staving off cabin fever as it were, in a lockdown SHTF Teotihuacan kind of situation where you're bugging in. All the plans for bugging in seem to revolve around supplies, but it's all right having all the supplies to sustain life, but without the willingness and desire to survive, then that's not much good. Cabin fever's literal meaning is extreme irritability and restlessness from living in isolation or a confined indoor area for a prolonged time. Symptoms can include insomnia, problems with concentration, frequent napping, irritability, feeling hopeless, lack of motivation, anxiety or depression, inability to cope with stress, irregular eating patterns. None of which you want to really be in place when SHTF or Teotihuacan happens. We have kind of had a look into the looking glass with this one when it comes to cabin fever, with obviously the things that happened around 2020. And because of this, the worldwide rate of anxiety and depression has increased by a massive 25%. That's according to a scientific brief released by the World Health Organization. I know I'm not the biggest fan of the Who either, but I like the band, but not the organisation. Obviously, sunlight and fresh air is major factors in this. Why do you think the first restriction that they lifted was letting you out so you could go for a walk and go, and get some fresh air, as it were? For many people, just surviving will take up a lot of the time. Sourcing water, food, and other essentials. But we're always going to have them days or evenings where boredom creeps in. More so when you've got kids. Now, let's not trivialize this. Boredom is one thing, but it is a slippery slope into that depression if you're bored day after day. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's okay. I've got a cupboard with a few board games in and a pack of cards, right? No. How long do you honestly think that is going to last after, say, we have the grid down situation? Board games and cards are great when it's a blackout for a few hours, for a day, for a couple of days, for a week even. But after a while, even I'd get sick of Monopoly. So here's some more things that I'd recommend on top of that. I'd recommend crafts with children especially, but even as adults, things like crochet, anything that involves needlework. It's practicing a skill that can be an asset in the long run. Also, doing that in a resourceful, renewable way, like unpicking an old jumper or separating old clothing and using that material. Reading, it'll be a big factor for adults and reading to little ones, especially at bedtimes. So start building yourself a library now. Don't have to go and spend a fortune on Amazon for this one. Think charity shops, think car boot sales, books, 10 for a penny. Doesn't even matter. Don't go out looking for that one specific book you want. If there's a box full, get them. As soon as you build up a library, it doesn't have to be, you want to be going there and seeing books that you've never read or never heard of. That's the whole point, right? No point collecting all the books you've already read. The same for the books can be said with the learning and practicing skills. So a lot of the books that we get, like the one that I was sent the other day for survival medicine, a lot of them have practical skills in there that you can practice and become an asset as well. Puzzles and puzzle books. Now, these are a good one, and I've started making a little drawer of them. Doesn't take up much space at all. I found one on Amazon for like $3.99 for 100 different puzzles. But look in the pound shops. Even in the pound shops, just pick one up now and again. Just start building yourself a little stash of rainy day puzzle books. We know all this off-grid stuff is not going to suffice for a lot of kids. They're going to miss the technology, right? But you don't want to be running a TV, an Xbox, a PC off your one little power bank. But what can you run? So I've made an investment into this little thing here. I'll put the link below. But it's a portable DVD player. These were popular when I was young, kind of phased out because who uses them anymore? Everyone's got a mobile phone, right? But this little portable DVD player can run off a 12-volt car battery. Comes with a DC power supply, comes with its own 6-hour battery life in it once the power supply is not on there. It takes the DVDs, but it also takes multimedia in the form of memory sticks and USBs. On the USB and memory sticks, the other thing to get is something like this, which is a portable speaker. I know you've probably already got one, or Alexa's chirping away in the background, because I've just said her name, clearly. But a portable speaker that's got the ability to have a USB memory stick put straight into it. And then you've got a ream of tracks on there that you can then just play through. The USB sticks are key. They are so cheap for a little USB memory stick, 8 gig, 16 gig, 32 gig. They go all the way up, they go all the way down. Doesn't really matter with music. You don't really need a big one. With film, you'd need bigger ones than that. You can get the USB hard drives as well. Depends on how far you want to go. You can even get free USB memory sticks. People give them out, certain companies give them out as marketing gifts at events and shows. It's madness. I've got a collection in my drawer and I've just started organizing them and filling them with music on some, TV series on others, and films on the other. And it's chock full of stuff. I'm not being picky. I'm downloading stuff that I'd never think of watching, stuff I wouldn't usually watch. Because at some point, you know, if we're in that situation, they're not going to make another series of that one thing you want to see. So you're going to have to pick up old stuff. And as Monkey Wrench mentioned, Kelly, in my podcast with him, that can be an excellent barter item. If you've got multiple of these little USB sticks with music on, awesome barter item. Exercising routine is also one of the greatest ways to stave off depression and cabin fever. Now, routine of doing the exercise is one of the biggest battles. But we saw what it was like during the 2020 times, and everyone started following Mr. Wicks online doing all his home workouts. As soon as they said you could go out for a walk, people were doing country walks who had never walked more than 10 meters to the shop before, because it was something they could do and it was a routine to get into. So doing exercise, keeping fit and routine, I've always said healthy body, healthy mind. We've done videos on fitness. That's as far as I'm going with that. Make sure it's a consideration. Imaginative and role play games is also one thing I'd really recommend. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, this is for the really geeky geeks there. D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. And no, it doesn't have to be with the little miniatures like you see on Stranger Things. D&D can be played by a storyteller and 4 people, pens and paper. That's all you need. The good thing with games like this, imaginative games, is you're never going to run out of material. Okay, you're not following a simple set of rules. You're not doing the same thing over and over again. It's very open world. So things like that can keep your imagination going. This is obviously long-term thinking, especially if you've got kids. Also, getting everybody involved with the day-to-day tasks. I would start that now, especially if you go out camping or practice any sort of grid down situation. Get the kids involved in the cooking. Let them know why you're doing it and what you're doing, even if they're not physically doing it. If you're salting some meats to test out preservation skills, just show them what you're doing and tell them what you're doing. They might roll their eyes and run back to their Switch or their Xbox, but still, at least show them. Start getting them thinking. And of course, there is another form of entertainment. If you don't have kids, or if you have kids and you get more time than I seem to get, then you and your significant other might find other ways to entertain yourselves. In SHTF and Teotihuacan, there's no or very few plan Bs. So make sure you're safe and take precautions. The last thing you want in a grid down situation is pregnancy or an STD. Let's just think logically with that one. Now, if that's not your belief system, I strongly recommend you practice however safely you can with other things. The consequences of your actions in peacetime can always be dealt with. There is hospitals, there is doctors, there is nurses, there are midwives. In Teotihuacan situation, that 10 minutes of entertainment could cost you dearly down the line. So these are just a few of my ideas. I will put a couple of links below, but keep your eye out in charity shops. And like I say, at car boot sales, DVDs you can get 3 or 4 for £1 these days from most places. It costs nothing to build these up if you've got the storage space to do so. But don't forget, the USB sticks. That portable DVD player will take one of those USB sticks with 300 films on it, and you can sit skipping through that all day long. I will mention, I forgot to mention before, with kids, if you have something like the portable DVD player, I would personally use that as a treat. Once a day or a couple of times a week, we're going to watch a film together. Not just there's the DVDs, there it is, off you go, because they'll sharp get through all the ones they want to see and they'll be bored again, and that heavy usage might break it in the long run. It's a nice little prep that I've ordered that's going to go in my Faraday cage. Food for thought on that one. But for me, it's often overlooked, the entertainment side of prepping. Lots of people gather supplies, food, water and essentials, and we've become so accustomed to having entertainment on demand whenever we want it. And like I say, a deck of cards and a couple of board games just won't cut it. And you've got to be able to talk and live with the people around you with no distractions. Hope this helps. Hope this gets you thinking in some sort of way. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye.
Yeah.